Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aida Farhat, and I'm the host of the Cosmic Brew podcast. And today I have a special guest, Tillie Treadwell. Welcome, Tillie. I'm excited to have you here and look forward to the information you'll be sharing with us today. I'm going to share your bio. Tillie Treadwell is a gifted paranormal intermediary whose quiet clarity and psychic attunement have altered lives and shifted perceptions. Known for opening safe, compassionate pathways between ordinary reality and the unseen. Tillie was the catalyst for, I'm not sure how to say this word, Artemis.
Artemis, that's my husband.
Oh, I'm sorry, Artemis. Sorry about that. Artemis Treadwell's dramatic awakening. A single night with her presence cracked his old worldview and set him on a rapid course of trust and transformation. Tillie's work bridges intuition and grounded care. She witnesses and translates messages from non-human intelligence, supports others through encounters with fae, mimics, and darker entities, and helps people integrate anomalous events, apports time glitches, and dream realm visitations without panic. She believes the unknown holds gifts for those willing to receive them, and she guides seekers to meet those gifts with curiosity, discernment, and heart. That's a lovely opening for you.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes. So how are you today, Tillie? Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm having a wonderful day. There does seem to be a little bit of a lag or something, so I apologize if it seems like I'm interrupting you. I'm seeing a bit of a tech issue here.
No, that's okay. Well, so are you hearing me lag when I'm speaking to you, or are you hearing? Yes. Okay. Let's try to push through it because we could go out and come back in. Do you prefer doing that, or do you want to just? Okay. All right. Well, tell us about who Tillie is and what you do and some of your experiences.
Absolutely. Well, my name is Tillie Treadwell, and these days I am known as an author, and I've just released a brand new book, my very first standalone edition, actually. But back in the day, I was a medical companion, a healer, energy worker, and some might even say an exorcist, a non-religious exorcist, but an exorcist nonetheless. I've done lots of work with tarot cards, oracle cards, and mediumship. I've done a little bit of everything, really. But these days, I like to say that I am an intermediary between humankind and non-human brothers and sisters of all different kinds. That's pretty much where I sit now these days. And I think it's my favorite role yet, to be honest, as well as, of course, being a quantum story collector and quantum storyteller. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any stories that you want to share with us, maybe to give the audience a little bit of a understanding of what a day in Tillie's life? What does it look like? Like
every day
are you contacted often by interdimensionals or fairies? I mean, yeah.
Oh yeah. Typically, there are non-human people around me, and this gets into some genetics and physical differences because, as you can tell, my eyes are a fair bit bigger than most people's. I have a different eye structure, so I tend to be able to, the doctors say, see more into the light spectrum than a lot of other people around me tend to. My ear structure is also a little different, so I can hear more than what other people tend to be able to hear. And then my brain waves have been recorded to be that of what usually people here would call deep sleep or deep hypnosis brainwaves. But of course, I'm sitting here talking with you right now. We're having a full-on conversation. So my reality is very different in that way. And I'm usually integrating lots of different layers of realities at once. And that almost always includes seeing and interacting with peoples who are less physical than we are here on the 3D. So I tend to have encounters each day. It just depends on who that person is and if they actually want to interact with me, because a lot of the time they don't. They just want to watch. They like to creep. They like to see what it's like to live here. And for that reason, I don't live in fear of them whatsoever. I don't have any charms up to protect the house. I don't have any prayers or anything going on. Our house is pretty well open to everyone and anyone who wants to pop in and visit. And sometimes there are people who will come manifest in the house. My husband's had his own experiences. He's seen people begin to physically manifest in front of us. So sometimes when we want to have more concrete conversations, that's an option. Otherwise, someone might just, for example, I was doing a show a few weeks ago, and there was a part, I forget what it was. There was a part where I was talking about something meaningful, and I watched a person come out of the wall from where I'm sitting, back, you could say behind the shoulder of the camera, came out and manifested halfway between where the couch and the fireplace is, and was just standing there listening, and gave me a little bit of a clap, and then went about their way. So every encounter is different, but I do tend to have lots of encounters, and I consider these people to be my friends. A lot of the time they will bring me small gifts, whether it's physical items, sometimes in the form of an apport, which again, there are people that have seen this as well. Sometimes they'll bring me knowledge. Sometimes, like Jeff the Talking Mongoose, sometimes they bring me city gossip. It really just depends on how they want to be a part of my life. And sometimes, too, they'll show up to tell me their story, their interactions with humankind, because they know that I write about these things, and they want me to write about it somehow, whether it be for, sometimes they'll have a specific request like, hey, can you please put that over in Eerie Expeditions magazine or Outer Limits magazine, or please put this in your next book and fictionalize it. And so there are lots of things like that. And sometimes they'll come to teach me lessons about psychology or medicine or nutrition or things that are related to me directly, because I also have porphyria really badly. So
do you mind explaining what that is? What is porphyria? What is that? Porphyria.
Sure. So porphyria, it's okay.
I've never heard that word before. I have no idea. Sorry. Yeah.
No,
and
okay,
for those that will watch this in the future, I mean, I want to get, so what is that, Tillie?
For sure. Porphyria is a severe genetic difference that used to be called the vampire disease. Oh. This is where someone is unable to sustain exposure to sunlight. So for myself, I have what's called medically anomalous porphyria, because my porphyria is literally only triggered by sunlight. All of the other types are triggered by things as well, like mulled wines or red wines and dark chocolates, things like that, as well as the sunlight. But mine is only triggered by the sun, and it's very, very serious. So for example, I have a lot of organ damage that I'm working on healing, because I was born in the early 90s, and a lot of people, they didn't know about porphyria back then. So they thought that I was lying. They thought that I was a little, drama queen, attention seeker. But I would wind up in the hospital regularly during the summer with where I was living, because of the sun being so intense. And
wow.
Yeah, they were like, oh, it has to do with food or something. But all of the tests for food-specific porphyria were coming back negative. It was literally only the sunlight. My skin would get super red. I would have blood vessels bursting in my eyes. So I looked awful. They would say I looked like a little demon. And then, of course, I would be confused. I would have trouble moving, navigating, breathing. And then I would have blood in my urine and whatnot. And they couldn't figure it out. But no one would listen to me, that I only was getting these problems when I would go out into the sunlight. And so I grew up protecting myself from people's ignorance and the sunlight at the same time. And now, because I was looking into another condition, a very rare genetic condition that I have, I realized that the one treatment for that type of diabetes that I have, it's called diabetes, but it's not quite diabetes. I can talk about that more later if you like. But I realized that the medication or the medicine that I had stumbled across for that also affects the same liver pathways that are active in porphyria. So last July, last June, I started in on this medicine for the diabetes, the genetic diabetes. And I started to like sneak my hand out into the sunlight to see if I would be able to sustain anything. Lo and behold, the more of this medicine and the longer period of time that I was having it in my system, the more able I was to tolerate sunlight. And now, thank God, I can go outside, like I like to say, like you mere mortals, and I can sustain sunlight exposure as long as I have certain levels of this medicine in my blood. So now I'm working with genetic specialists to see more about how this medicine is putting at least this type of porphyria into remission. But it's very interesting because sunlight is directly entwined with conditions like porphyria and anemia, porphyric anemia, and other types of anemia, and the fairies and other types of so-called, demons, angels, and non-human peoples. So perhaps there's something with my genetic profile that's, as a complete picture, allows me to have these direct experiences. And of course, I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying that maybe these are some of the pieces that I put together, and I think that they are important pieces of disclosure, if nothing else, especially when we get into talking about claims that I make in books like Tales of the Rift, because I do say that they are real accounts. They've just been slightly fictionalized for safety and privacy reasons. So there you have it. I hope that helps. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
It's absolutely fascinating. I mean, when I hear you talk about this, of course, I think about how much we're encouraged to be out in the, well,
Yeah.
some of the medical field would say stay out of the sun, use sunscreen, all these things. But I know that vitamin D is very important to the body. And so being in the sun and in nature is so important, and walking barefoot and grounded. So I'm glad that you have something that's helping you to be, and plus the sun is lovely, right?
Yeah, it is, right?
Outside, and it's, So, okay, that's absolutely fascinating. I'm glad that you're finding some relief through the medication you're taking. That's fantastic. I have a question. Have you ever had a Akashic Records reading, or are you familiar? Are you aware of the type of soul that you behold, like who you're connected to? I mean, as far as off-world beings, possibly. I mean, I believe we all come from the stars. I know that I hold a Pleiadian soul. Yeah, I'd be curious to know a little bit more about the soul that, that, like, who are you connected to? Because I know that there are people, I've met one recently and had her on my show, who claims to have that she's a jinn in physical form. And
interesting.
Yeah. Now, I don't say I agree or disagree. I just open to the possibility and doing my best to understand. So, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'd love to know who that is, because I haven't heard of this person yet, and I would love to do a little bit of research and hear her story. If you wouldn't mind sharing at some point.
I won't do that here, just to respect her privacy. Yes. But maybe I will talk with her and see if she'd be willing, if she's okay with it. I definitely want, just out of respect, I would do the same for you or anybody else. Yeah.
Of course. I think I misunderstood. I thought that you meant that she had spoken publicly about it. So my apologies for that.
Well, actually she has. So I don't know if, I can't remember her name. I'll talk to you about it offline. No, that's fine.
Of course.
I want to stay focused on you. So, okay. So you're writing stories. You've written a book, and the book is about you connecting with these interdimensional beings. And do you have a story, maybe a facet. Do you have any stories that you want to share with us, that maybe some of your experiences that people would be, enjoy knowing about?
Oh, many, many.
Okay.
But to answer your question first about the Akashic reading, I've not had one of those readings specifically, but I've had many psychics say that I am directly linked to the Egyptian gods and to certain planetary gods. Lots of them. How true it is, I have no idea. I seemed to have one experience with the moon, the deified moon, when I was a baby, but that's really the only thing that I can think of directly, outside of maybe seemingly to get some communication from someone who claimed to be Venus. And that's a very interesting story, I think, in itself, because my husband was also present for that one, and he witnessed the anomalous movement in the sky right along with me when this contact was occurring. But beyond that, I don't really know. There are some psychics that I've met who say that I have deep ties to the deep forest. And other than that, I mean, it's up for, I think, some interpretation. But about the stories, yes, 100%. These are stories that are based on either my own firsthand accounts, or if I'm taking them from other people, they're from sources that I have been vetting and trusting for a long time, or I've seen enough right then and there to believe at least some portion of the story enough to include it. So some of the stories come from past exorcism or healing cases that I've worked on before. Some of them are near identical retellings of my own encounters, and then some are straight from the non-human people themselves, with just certain aspects changed.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah. Look.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
There's one character in my new book. I just call him the Guardian, but he is indeed based on someone real that I met many years ago at the crossroads when I was out taking a walk by myself one evening.
Mm.
And this happens to me as well, too, outside of the home. There are times in certain types of public places where I have been walking by myself, or I've been out with my husband, and there have been non-human people that have approached me for whatever reason, and they will say hello, or they'll strike up a conversation with me or with us, and it really just flows. I've had lots of interesting encounters, at least by my standards, just by going out and people seeing me and then choosing to come to me. And sometimes they'll give me a little wink or a little nod in a very special, otherwise impossible way, so I will know that that's a non-human person, and then we'll chat. Other times, I can tell by certain impossible events that this is a non-human person who wants to join me for a while, like on the back roads. This person just popped up out of nowhere. There's no way that otherwise could have happened.
So are we talking about lower fourth dimensional beings? I mean,
Lots. Some of them are, you could say, higher 3D. Some of them are in the 4D that pop into here for a while. Some of them are much greater, like 5D and beyond, you could say. But they all will manifest here in their own unique way and unique time to have those encounters with me and sometimes the other people around me, and then they're merrily on their way. Yeah.
fascinating. So are you able to look at a person and see if they have entities around them?
Sometimes yes, but sometimes there are occasions where a non-human person doesn't want to interact for one reason or another. They're all extremely unique for the most part. I would say that stereotypes typically don't apply to non-human people as I've known them, if those non-human people are indeed sentient or beyond semi-sentient. There are some that I've met that really are just complete NPCs. So, for example, when I lived in what we call it the death house. My husband and I had moved into a house it was in 2021. In 2021, we lived there from then until 2023. We were the longest standing tenants in that house, according to the neighbors. And everyone would leave between 6 and 12 months otherwise, just pack up and abandon the house. And the leasing laws here are pretty lax in some ways. So when we moved in, they had covered up all of the troubles of the house well enough that I wasn't really getting anything. I was looking around. I'm like, oh, okay, it's an okay place. It'll do for 3-4 years, whatever. It's a rental, just whatever. But about a year and a half in, we started having, unbeknownst to us, leaking issues and foundational issues within the house. And in those areas of the house, I started having, you could say, negative non-human contact, and it was just escalating. It was just ramping up.
Wow.
So there's something that I call a decay claim haunting, and that is when non-sentient NPC type non-human critters or entities move into a part of a house or building or an entire building that is being neglected, and that here has serious issues, quality issues. And then as the issues spread throughout the house, so does the activity, because you could say that the vibe of the house is driven down into a really unhealthy level. You'll start to get things like mold and bacteria, rats and cockroaches, things like that. And that's what they are able to sustain because their own natural biology is part and parcel with infection and germs and parasites, things of that nature.
Wow.
Yeah. So I started having these problems. And when we started to realize what was going on, the closet in our bedroom was starting to flood from the inside of the carpet up. So from the ground up, literally. We had never seen anything like that. But while it was happening, I started to put the pieces together. I was like, honey, we're going to have to move because this place is falling apart around us. Now we can see it. This is what's going on. This is why we've started to have these negative encounters. And it accumulated with me being completely unable to reason with these non-human critters that were there. And I could see them often. And they would antagonize me because I could see them.
They're attracted to low vibrate. Is that?
Yeah.
Did I hear you clear? Yeah. So okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And we were starting to get really sick. We didn't know what was going on. It turns out we were getting black mold coming out of the wall.
Serious. Yeah.
It was very serious. And the landlords, they were awful in terms of quality. We would try to get them to like fix the dishwasher, for example, and they would say, oh, okay, yeah, we have our tech coming out. We would be there at home expecting this tech. We would watch him sit in the driveway for 5 minutes, say that he was knocking and calling. He would walk up to our door, put a sticky note on the door, turn around and leave, and then bill the company for the time. And we kept trying to tell them, your tech isn't doing his job or whatever. And they kept blowing us off. And there was a lot of other things going on. And I hope that company goes down for fraud. But it was so serious overall that about a month before we could leave, since we had moved our bed out of the bedroom, the activity was so bad. I was starting to have encounters at night where they were trying to like encroach on the bed. My husband would be asleep beside me, and there wasn't much that I could do to ward these things off at the time because of how quickly the decay was spreading in the house. And a few nights before we left, it was about 11 o'clock at night or so, and I was up. I could not sleep any longer at this house. He was sleeping beside me because he was exhausted from work, and I understand that. But I had the TV on. I had a nightlight on. I was trying to interrupt the manifestation ability as much as I could. But I finally fell asleep, and I was awoken by what felt like a small hand going down my pajama top. So I was actually being sexually assaulted by this thing. And I opened my eyes and I could see like several of them there. They were huddled up on the ceiling where the mold had been spreading and whatnot. And none of my usual tactics, no bargaining, no reasoning, no friendship, nothing worked. And I've investigated a fair number of decay claim hauntings. It is the same with every single story. And I wind up just taking my own advice on that one and moving and sanitizing everything. And that's exactly what my past clients had to do in order to get this type of activity to stop. And they won't stop until they take over the entire building. And then once they take over the building, if there is a building next door that's not well kept enough, they'll start to hop over there too. Wow. And they're vicious.
Well, we see these types of, structures falling apart in cities, row houses, people, all over the place, really. If you go into any city that has any ancient, that's fascinating. I'm glad you were able to get out of there.
Me too.
When you said sexual assault, I mean, I think of reptilians immediately because they're common. Sure. That's a common thing for them. And there are different groups of reptilians, but I do know that some of the lower, let's say, I don't even know if I want to use the word lower, but these ones that feed and are fixated on lower fear and dirt, and they like dirty spaces and
so, everyone has their own taste, and that's theirs.
But okay, well, how about, do you want to tell us anything about fairies? You've connected with fairies?
I have, yes, many times.
I'd love to hear about that.
For sure. Here's a much lighter story. So back when I was taking on clients and right before I had joined the church, there was a dear, sweet lady who was in the community where I was quite active. And I had a fantastic reputation for my mediumship, my non-human contact, for tarot reading, all of that. And she would just do this and that here with me occasionally. It really just depended on what she needed for the season or the time. And she asked me to come over one day, and she said that she wanted my advice on connecting with the fairies. And she's like, I'm not having any activity whatsoever. I don't think they're even here. And I've done everything that I can think of to give them a wonderful place to be. I said, all right, I'll come over. I'll check it out. Let's see what we got. So we had ourselves a little tea party and a nice lunch. And I was looking around her house and I was like, this is odd. It's really nicely kept here. It's very clean, beautifully decorated. There were, the fresh cookies and fresh bread. So she was really keeping up on everything. And then she's like, let me show you the backyard because I've been working all summer on this and I'm really proud of it. And I'm really sad that no one has come to enjoy it soon. So we go outside and I don't look at anything super closely because at that point, I just needed to get a feel for the vibe and look at the overall layout and the general health of the plants and whatnot. And everything looked like it would be just absolutely perfect for friendly fae to come and enjoy. So I tell her, it's very odd because I think everything really is in line here. So we step back inside, and as she's closing the sliding door, we're talking about her starting to give offerings to these little fae. And especially because she had told me what types she wanted to interact with and to attract. She's like, I really want to attract the ones that will love the garden and who might come inside sometimes at night to enjoy whatever treats I leave out. Okay, cool. Here's what I would recommend. And as I am talking, I am interrupted by a vision and a telepathic message from gnomes. They were about this tall. What they did was they took me real quick into one of the pine trees that was right across from her door. And so please mind, this was in about the later afternoon or so, but they took me mentally into this tree and they showed me that there were little swings. They didn't communicate to me with words, by the way. They just showed me what they were doing. No, 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 we're here, we're here. And at this point, they were showing me that they were enjoying these little swings that were in the pine tree, like hung on the branches. And so I looked at her and I said, this might sound incredibly random, and this might be a time where I am subconsciously making things up. So please feel free to call me on it. But I'm seeing small gnomes swinging on little swings in that pine tree right there.
So cool.
And you know what she said to me? She dropped what she was holding at that time and she's like, there's no effing way that you could have known that. And I said, what are you talking about? And she said, last week, I hung little swings from the little fairy house kits from Michael's in that exact tree, hoping that they would be used.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. I love that. That's super cool. That's awesome, Tillie. I'm imagining if I seem a little, it's because I'm picturing everything in my mind, that's super awesome. I love that. That's
so she hadn't told me about her trip to Michael's. She didn't tell me anything that she was doing with the trees. And I always tell people, I need you to give me as little detail as possible. And mine too. This tree was a really big, healthy, beautiful pine tree. There's no way that I could have seen into the branches through the thick branches and pine needles to see what she had done.
Oh, I believe you, Tillie.
Yeah.
You know, people that are so skeptical and like, everybody wants proof of something, right? It's like we have experiences that are meant for us, our divine connection with all the, nature and fairies and interdimensionals and the whole bit. I mean, I see things not as often as I used to, but I definitely, and I feel like I had a lady where I used to live in an apartment before I moved here from Jacksonville down here to St. Augustine. I had moved into the apartment. I had just moved from Maryland, moved into the apartment, found out that there was this elderly lady that was I think she was a nun, but she was bedridden. And I never got to meet her because she never came out of her house. And one day I ran into her caretaker who would pick her mail up, take her trash out for, help her. She was her caretaker. And she was telling me that she was, had some serious illness issues and was basically bedridden and so forth. So anyways, one night I was laying on my couch watching TV and I was on my side looking and my front door was to my left, a little bit to the left corner of the apartment. Long story short, I'm laying there and I felt something. I thought I heard something, then I definitely felt something. I lifted my head and I looked over and I'm looking around the apartment. I'm like, okay, went back to go watch TV. And within a minute and a half, I was like, no, I'm telling my intuition saying, get off the couch, go see what's going on. Yeah. And damn if I didn't walk to my front door. And when I went to open the door, the whole doorknob fell off the door. Like you have to use a screwdriver and, it's tightly bolted to the door. The whole thing just fell off, screws and all. And I knew immediately that the lady next door to me had passed away. So I left the door like that all night long until I went into the rental office, and I had to wait till that Monday because it was a weekend, I guess. I had to wait till either the next day or 2 days for them to come and fix this doorknob. And I saw a lady going into her apartment and we talked for a few minutes and she said, yeah, we're trying to figure out what time she passed. She had passed away. And I said, well, I can tell you right now. It was between 9:15 and 9:30 when she passed. She tried to come into my house. So I know that when a soul leaves the body, if it doesn't cross over and fully transition, it will look for another body to inhabit. It doesn't realize it's and I had to do a clearing on my apartment, and I did, and it was immediate. I cleared my house.
Oh, yeah,
But I
yeah.
was at least able to tell them it was between 9, I'm thinking more like 9:23 to be exact, like when she passed.
Mhm.
So I've had some situation, some experiences.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
probably not to the degree, but yeah, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I actually have a visitor here for you right now.
Okay.
Uh, okay, so I don't know. I'm being told not to ask too many details if possible, but there is a very wise, you could say, elderly dragon who's here, and apparently you'll know what that's about if you don't already. But she's saying that you're at a crossroads right now, and that the new path that you're contemplating, to jump in all the way. Don't hesitate. I don't know what that means, but you're at some kind of crossroads. And she's saying that if you've got hesitation, to let it go and choose firmly and swiftly, because if not, unfortunately, that's going to be something that drags you down in about 3 to 5 years. But something about like dragons is really resonating with you, and I don't know you, but that's who is here with me right now over the left shoulder of the camera.
Would you ask her for more detail? Because I I need some clarity on that. I mean, I do feel like I'm at a crossroads. I'm considering moving to Sedona with Brian
Oh,
Singh. I've
wow.
actually taken the steps to make that happen, and I feel like I'm in a transitional period where not a
That's
whole
what
lot
she
is
said.
going on. Yeah,
That's
so if
what
you
she
could
said.
get more detail from her, that would be great. That would be helpful, Tillie.
Okay. She says that it would be very wise for you to choose and commit one way or the other, but that you are literally at diverging paths. You can't hold on to anything from your old life if you choose whatever this new life is. It's literally going to be starting from the ground up. And she says if there's any kind of hesitation within you, that it would be incredibly healthy and wise for you to look into that within yourself and resolve it, so that it doesn't complicate your opportunities that are coming up within the next year. She also says that um, she is she's saying that she's the archetype essence of your higher self, which is dragon. Yeah, like a mother dragon is what she's saying. And that if you don't know what that means right now, you will within the next few years.
Does it have to be a few years or could it be sooner?
No, she said if you don't already. She's saying that there's a part of you that already knows, but it might be subconscious. It just depends on the second and the timeline that you're in right now. But something very specific with Mother Dragon. Does that make any sense?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's here, and it's very interesting because she is like a Chinese dragon, but she says that you may know her in another form.
Okay. That's pretty awesome.
Do you
I
do you
don't
mind
know.
elaborating a little for me? I'm
Well,
curious.
I mean,
It's okay if you don't want to. I'm just curious because I've never had a
I don't have
visitation.
yeah, it's not that I don't want to share with you. So there's something that what you said just resonated immediately within me. What? Oh, I thought, is she waving to you?
Yeah. She said that she's message delivered, and she thanked me and is leaving.
Okay. So I know that I have a very ancient soul, not necessarily on this planet. I understand I've only been here 8 times. Um, and my oversoul is pretty powerful. And I believe it comes from the natural, organic, what's the word I want to use? Like the primordial realms.
Okay, that makes
And
sense.
yes. And so and I have experienced sacrifice in this lifetime and other lifetimes. I'm actually doing a presentation at the Full Disclosure Conference in the UK soon. Maybe we'll talk off because I don't want to share. Yeah, this is but I appreciate you sharing that information with me, and I do understand that I'm at a crossroads. What's fascinating is that I had a dream that I was with Brian, and if anybody that doesn't know who I'm talking about the executive producer of the Full Disclosure Now conference, and also also building a platform where like-hearted minded people, content creators, people that do readings or different modalities to help a service that they want to offer. We will be inviting people onto this platform in order to give them a place to, we'd love to have you, Tillie. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll talk with Brian about it, but I don't want to talk too much because I'm still kind of, like he shared, what the intention is and where he's wanting to go with it, but I don't have enough details to really share, and it's not my place to do that. Anyways, I did have a dream that I was with him and he was hanging a light fixture, and I looked up at him like he was on a step ladder of some sort. And I looked up at him and I said, Brian, I think this is it. And then I woke up. And then I had another dream that I was in this house, not my apartment where I live now, but a house, a small house. And I was outside and prints had gotten taken from a wild animal, which I understand there's a lot of coyotes in Arizona. And because I asked Brian about it, and I ran in the house to get something, and I heard scratching at the door, and I went to the door and opened the door, and I thought it was Prince. He got away, and somehow he may have been hurt but not killed. But it was a different animal with two tails. And I'm like, what the heck? What are the two tails? Like, why am I seeing two tails on an animal? Yeah. I said to my girlfriend, who is also, she's an animal communicator, and she said, Ida, the two tails are two paths. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I do know that I'm at a crossroads, and right now I'm just really sitting with myself, Tillie, because until things some of the energy gets shifted and moved a bit. But once I step over that threshold and I move and I'm there and I can start building with him and helping, then I think things will start showing themselves. Like more opportunities will start opening up, and I'll get an understanding of what I'm really there to do, to help with
I completely agree. And it makes sense then you were talking about the primordial realms and whatnot. That's kind of the sense where I was feeling like she originally came from. So that linked to possibly your soul essence and your journey overall. Now that makes a lot more sense. So you might want to look into harnessing more of the dragon essence energy, because that could also help you with discernment moving forward. That's just some general advice based on some of the things that she was communicating to me, but it sounds like it generally lines up with what you're going through. And
well, I appreciate you gifting me that and sharing that information with me. And maybe we'll have to set up for you to do a reading for me and see if we can get any more information. I mean, you do offer those services. Let's see, where are we at? Because I think 2:52. So we've got about 15 minutes. Okay. Do you want to talk a little bit more about the services that you offer and your books and where people can find you and the magazines and all of that, Tillie? That would be great, because I do have people that watch the show later on. I mean, it's a beautiful Sunday afternoon. I'm not surprised that we don't have a live audience right now, or, we have one, and I think looks like there was one heart. Yeah. But though you'll get some exposure on the YouTube channel. And, either way, I always say, no matter what, whoever it's meant to reach, it will. I'm here to reach hearts and minds, like-hearted, like-minded people. I'm not looking to, I'd like to build the YouTube channel so that I can reach more people, but I'm not looking for followers. I encourage people to return back to their heart and stand in their own divinity, their own power, and self-actualize. But I'd love to hear more. Yeah. More about who you are. I mean, not who you, we've already shared who you are, but where can people find you? What kind of services do you offer, Tillie?
Sure. Well, right now I'm still recovering from the porphyria damage and the nutritional damage and whatnot. So I really don't offer readings and whatnot like I used to. Typically, I tend to pop into people's lives when they are at a serious crossroads. And then if someone from the other side of the veil wants to contact me directly, they will. And then I'll relay those messages free of charge. But if someone is really dedicated to changing their life and their path, and they're going to be very serious about working with me, then I would consider taking that person on. But to be honest, I did stop doing a lot of readings, healings, etc., because most of the clientele I noticed over the path of like a year or two, a lot of them weren't taking my advice seriously. They would continue doing the same exact things, getting the same exact results, and then they would come to me. So I was more like a well-paid psychic companion, and they were allegedly paying me for my healing services and for my advice and whatnot, but they were, I would say, kind of abusing it. So I'm extremely careful now about who I give my gifts to in that way. And I have the understanding that when I do pop up in someone's life, it tends to be because they are either at that crossroads or they will be very shortly. And I'm just there to play whatever role they deem fit for me at the time, be it something good, bad, ugly, beautiful, otherwise. I'm just there as a supporting character. So, people can contact me then if they wish. I just would like to give that kind of a complete disclosure, because typically wherever I tend to pop up, people, and their lives tend to either fall apart or they fall together. And that's just how it is. And I'm just here to love people where they're at.
Oh, I appreciate your honesty and your authenticity. Authenticity. I can't say
authenticity.
Yes, there you go. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't offering psychic readings or doing healings. I just prefer not to go that route. I do things behind the scenes. And although I do talk to a lot of young ladies that contact me, or women, some men, but primarily women that reach out to me on Messenger and want to engage and talk about things. And I always do my best to make time for them. And it can be a little draining, listening. But my thing is, you get me 3 times, once, twice, the third time. If what I'm recommending or suggesting doesn't work for you, or you're not willing to at least give it a try, then I put a boundary up.
Yeah,
because if you're not serious, maybe I'm not the person you should be reaching out to. Somebody else. Maybe they'll say something that you want to hear rather than what you need to hear. Right? It's
exactly. Yes.
Oh, yeah. So I do my best to hold myself accountable but I have somebody I work with doing shadow work. I mean, it's not per se, we don't work together, but we help each other with shadow work and so forth. She's been a great support to me, and I'll give a shout out to Jennifer Nunez. She's amazing. And but yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that message with me, and I intend to give it my everything to really make this shift for myself, this crossroads, to make the right choice for myself to the best of my ability. I mean, I'm willing to give everything up to make this move, because I really want to have a positive impact and bring value to humanity however I can. So yeah. And so we'll see how it goes, but I appreciate that message. That gives me some understanding that this is the time, and that it's time for me to make it. Are you thinking Are you getting another message, Tillie?
I am. I'm sorry. How could you tell?
I could tell just by your mannerisms and the way you were holding yourself.
Okay.
And
yeah, she was telling me briefly that the commitment you're about to make, if you go through with it, there's significant possibility that it is a lifetime commitment and that your role there will grow over the next 5 to 10 years. Ooh, that's all I can say. That's all I can say. You are far more important than you understand, I think, at this juncture. And I don't mean that in a condescending way. She's showing me a specific timeline. But it makes sense. All right. It makes sense why I got in contact with you all when I did. Your energy is crucial. I'm being shown because that mother dragon energy, you're going to continue to walk into that as you go down this path that you're contemplating, and it's going to make up for an eventual tragedy, which has nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing to do with you. But shadow work.
Wait. That was a lot, Tillie. Sorry. Can you?
Oh, it's okay.
Some clarity, a potential tragedy for who?
I can't say. I literally cannot say because I don't know.
I see.
I'm not lying to you or hiding anything from you on purpose. I'm literally telling you exactly what I'm getting as I'm getting it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, okay. There are details that are being withheld from me for my protection and for yours. But what she's saying is that if you take this new path seriously enough, she's literally saying you stand to inherit a fortune. I don't know what that means. But there's something very serious about it, and she's saying it will grant you all of what you are hoping to achieve and more growth as you go if you choose it fully and completely.
Is she referring to me moving to Sedona?
I have no idea.
Can you ask?
Yeah, she's listening right now. She's telling me.
Can you ask her if she's referring to me moving to Sedona? Because I've been on the trying to understand what is this what not supposed to be doing? Is this for my highest spiritual development and growth? Is this the best opportunity for me to be able to bring forth the energy that I hold in order to bring value to other people's lives? Am I going to receive the information needed in order for me to really express my creative or have my highest creative expression and so forth? Is she referring to moving to Sedona with Brian Singh?
I literally can't say because all she's doing is she's right beside me here. She's smiling at me and at us, and she just says to beware because absolute power reveals absolutely. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
Revealed absolutely.
And she says that you have all of the power that you need with this next path to make everything that you are asking about come true. But that is the one warning she's giving you. That absolute power reveals absolutely, not corrupts, but reveals. I don't know what that means. She won't say.
So the power reveals information?
Everything. Yeah, she said everything.
I mean, I have a feeling I know what you're talking about, but I'm not willing to share that information as of right now.
And that's okay. I don't have to know. I'm just a messenger.
Yeah. Oh, Tillie, you've helped me tremendously today. I want you to know that.
I'm really happy that I could be of service.
I appreciate you. I mean that. That was super helpful.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So, okay. Well, I'm going to have to contemplate that for a while and, just sit with it and really process. I'm going to probably watch this again and try to, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lot. And I have an idea if what I'm thinking is correct. I have an idea of what she's referring to. And I appreciate that I will be gifted a fortune. The fortune wouldn't be for me, it'd be for humanity. It's
Exactly.
never, yes. So, and I'm always in the business of seeing how I can make a difference, to really make a difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's very small acts of simply buying somebody something to eat, opening a door for an elderly, helping them, take their trash, whatever. Small acts of kindness make a big deal for people. There's so many people, elderly people alone in this world right now. You have a lot of single people, don't want to get in relate. I've been single for a very long time. I just don't want to take on anybody else's, yeah. So
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
After
it's
being
not that
married for so
I would
many
love to
years.
meet a beloved. And if I met somebody I really felt was, I don't like to use the word worthy, we're all worthy, but
Sure.
meaning somebody that was, open to work to that where we build together, that it's not one or the other, that we're doing it together as a team, but.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I hear you on that. Yeah. That's where my hubby and I are at now, but that comes only after 10 years of immense struggle, and I'm open that I was in a very abusive relationship with him for so many years. And because I have no family, I was essentially quite trapped. I had no money, I had no family, I had no way out. And after 10 years together, finally he's had enough therapy and he's listened to me enough and he's had enough of his own paranormal experience that give him negative feedback for the BS he was doing. He was haunted by mimics and other types of people who were giving him feedback and in some ways had my back. And he got his act together. So now we're a very happy team and family, but it's not for the faint of heart. You are taking on everything that someone else has in an intimate relationship. You're also taking on their family, their financial struggles, their shadow side. I don't blame you one bit. If I didn't have him, I wouldn't even consider being in a relationship or being sexually active. None of that stuff for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not, and I haven't been for a long time. I've been celibate. I mean, we're grown adults here by choice. Because
Right.
the energy, a very long time. I mean, when I was younger, I sowed my seed, so to speak, and did plenty of all of that stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Tillie, I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing. And you said she was Asian, which I think is interesting considering, but that's a lot. I'm going to have to really sit with that. And I trust I'm going to make the highest and best choice for myself. I mean, I know that I'm at a crossroads and I feel like I've done enough healing and work that for where I'm at in my consciousness that it's time for me to expand and to really step up. So, yeah, but I appreciate you. And I definitely want to have you come back. I think you're fascinating. I love talking to you.
Yay.
And, and I want anybody that sees this show, please, all Tillie's contact information is in the comment section. You could buy her book. Please buy her book. Show her some support, and share this broadcast or this video out. And any of my podcast friends that may come across this information, you may be interested in having Miss Tillie on your show. You're such a sweet lady. You really are. And
would you believe that some people think I'm evil? Some people think I'm the devil.
Yeah, I don't think you're the devil by no means. And I love your wit. I love your being genuine and direct and just saying it like it is. I think that's important. We need more of that. Yep.
Yeah,
And women we need to stand in our power and not to overpower or to be, like you're, not in an egotistical way, but to own and hone in on that which is our the divine feminine, because so many of us are operating from our masculine, especially when it's because we've dealt with, and I'm no victim. None of us are victims. I mean, there are victims out there, but I'm saying I'm definitely not a victim today. Like I own my participation in everything that I've experienced. And it took a long time. But a lot of the lessons were, I was hard-headed. I'll just say that. And I was, I'm a Leo, so I'm a fixed sign.
That makes sense.
So I was born on a full moon in Aquarius. So I'm definitely a humanitarian, but I'm also a very direct, like, talk about dragon, like, I'm very serious about making sure that the babies and the women and the elderly and the men, but those are my priority is really just, wanting to make sure that, that we get ourselves moved along where our voices are being heard. And so on that note, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you, Tillie. I'll be sure to share this out, share it out, invite your friends to listen. And I'll be in touch to see about coming back on in a few months.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure.
Yeah.
Do you want me to hang around after the closing of the show or?
Yeah, we could chat for a few minutes. Yeah.
Okay. I know I dumped a lot on you, so I don't want to just like.
No, it's okay. I'm going to go ahead and close the show. Everybody that watches this in the future, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Let me go ahead and close it.